All right, how's everyone doing? I'm Rich CELENZA, and thanks for tuning into the Rich CELENZA Show. WTF are you talking about? So what I want to get into today is about money. Actually, it's kind of ironic, but it's actually, when did it actually all become about money is what I should really be saying, because I realized as time went on that everything, or I can't say everything, but a lot of things that I'm seeing all revolves around money. And I think a lot of people don't understand that money isn't what's always going to truly bring happiness. And you've heard this a million times probably. Money doesn't solve your problems. I will say money does solve a lot of problems. Don't let that don't kid yourself. Money makes a lot of things a lot easier. There's no question on that. But I'm talking about guys that right now don't have money, all right? And what I'm telling you is, I'm not telling you not to go make money either, or that money is not important. That's extremely important. What I'm saying is, for you to figure out truly, for you to truly be happy, I think a lot of times, you can't just look at doing things for money, right? And I'll just take, for instance, you see a lot of athletes out there, and I'll just use them for an example, and you see that a lot of times their agents or whatever, it's really just about money. Now, I'm not saying I'm them, and I'm not in that position to say, but a lot of times I'd rather go play for a team. I'll take Tom Brady, for instance, or whatever. Like, he plays with that team, and I think he's one of the lower paid quarterbacks. He wants to play for that team. Plus, he makes money with endorsements, obviously. But I don't necessarily think it was all about money with him. It was about winning and building an environment that he loved being in the town he felt the most comfortable in, I think, with the best coach that he believes. I think he loves the owner, the whole package. Because at any moment, he could have dipped, I believe, many times to go to many other teams, and maybe he would have won Super Bowls with them, maybe not. But I think, I just looked at him over the years and said, well, this guy, and there's tons of others that just stayed, or I should say stayed, they went to where they felt they belonged, and it wasn't just about money. And I think a lot of people in our lives, the way we've been kind of programmed is, you're going to always keep finding the right job, right, that's going to pay you more money. Or I'm going to do this because it makes money, right? The truth is, what you're paying for, I believe, a lot of times with a job, or not you're paying for, but what you're looking for is a lifestyle. The lifestyle is really what you're looking for. You can be like, yeah, no shit, dude. I want to make $100 million so I can drive a Ferrari and live in a mansion and fly over the world, or do whatever you want to do. Yeah, no shit. But, that's very hard to do. But a lot of times you end up going after things or going in a direction that you don't even have strengths in, but you think that's what's going to bring you the money, and you're not even actually that happy doing it along the way. I think the key is, again, what you want to do is find the lifestyle that you want to really live. A lot of people say they want to travel, and I can tell you I've traveled for most of my life now. I've traveled the last 10 years straight. I was on the road 220 days a year, and I used to say as a joke, not as a joke, I used to say, and I got, I want to all over, I just want to eat in every different restaurant, Italian restaurant in North America. I did it. Hey, I want to be in a different hotel every day. I don't want to make my bed or any of that shit and go to pool, jacuzzi, whatever I want to do that day in the hotel, eat in the restaurant, leave, go, all this shit. It ended up happening. And I'm going to tell you, it wasn't what I thought it was, just like a lot of things. And I could say, a lot of people could be like, hey, I want to travel and I want to experience that, maybe that, all these different types of things, and I get it, right? But again, what you got to really look at, what do you really want, right, first? Because if you figure out what you really want, right, you can eventually figure out how to make money in it. Now, if you want to be an artist, hypothetically, like that draws paintings, there's no question. That is a long road. But if you are determined and that's what you love to do, right, and you love money, you need to put two components together. What I realized a lot of times making films, and I'll just speak from what I've gone through, and this goes for bands, artists that make music. A lot of times, a lot of them guys are like, dude, it's not about the money, it's just about the art. I'm doing it because of this and that, which I get that, because you're doing what you love to do. Now, those are a different type of breed. A lot of people will be like, hey, man, I make the music because it just fulfills me. I'm a poet. I write poetry because I just need to do that. I don't care about money. Hey, that's cool. But if you are somebody who wants money, right, and you're also an artist or somebody that wants to make money off their art, you need to figure that shit out. But don't do shit a lot of times, where you're just looking at what's going to pay me if I do this style art, because I see that with a lot of people in marketing. A lot of people I know that are kind of creative and all these things, they wanted to always create things, but they said, oh, well, I guess I got to go to college for marketing, so I'm marketing, and then they end up going to work with a company, they're not making that much money, and they're working like an animal, and they're like, I just kind of went after the money. I wasn't actually looking at what was going to make me happy. I thought marketing was kind of artistic, which it kind of is, I guess, right? But if they would have just started for the beginning, says, what do you really want to do? Right? All right, I want to be a filmmaker. All right, but you want to make money, right? Yes. Well, then you need to learn to be a producer. How much money do you want to make? Do you want to make Hollywood films? Do you want to do television? Do you want to do plays? Again, figure out what type of money you really want to make, but also put yourself in a position where you're happy while going after it. And I don't think a lot of people do that. They either just concentrate and go, man, I need to be a millionaire by this age. So what's going to get me there? I'm kind of good at this. Should I try this or should I try that? Well, again, what you're looking for is, really life experiences again. That's what you're really looking for, right? If you're not enjoying your life experience, what's the sense of doing it? I don't care if you have money or if you don't have money. You still, while you're broke, got to still enjoy yourself, right? I would think so. What are you going to be miserable with the hopes that hopefully in 10 years, then I'll be a millionaire, which again, you may become a stockbroker. You could maybe do real estate. You can do those things. I'm not dismissing that. That still doesn't mean in the meantime that you should live a shitty life. Or again, you should always be chasing the buck, because a lot of times the buck changes, as you know. The economy always changes, ups and downs. Your career may change, your mindset, technology, something can come out very quickly. It could be like a taxi driver, I'm just using, and then Uber comes out and rocks your boat. Or this happens, an app comes out and changes your life, or this comes out. So a lot of times you can't just look at the here and now. Really, you got to look down the road, 5-10 years. And I'm not saying the 5-year, that business thing where they always go, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, I get that point. That's wonderful. What I'm saying, again, is back to money. You want to keep putting yourself every day, hopefully, in a position where you're joyful, at least, or you're inspired. Because each day you want to kind of be inspired more and more to keep going, right? Going after your goal. But as you're being inspired, at the end, hopefully you'll make money, or you're making money while you're doing it. You're not just doing something for money. And I get a lot of times at the beginning, we may have to all take shit jobs. You may be in a position where like, hey, I got kids, I got to take this job for now. Or I just need money for this. I got to buy groceries. I get all that. Don't think I'm telling you that it's not important. I get that. What I'm telling you as far as, it's hard to go from Tom Brady to this, but my point being is that was just an extreme. But you too, a lot of times you may, you want to make a lot of money. Figure out really what you truly love and surround yourself in that situation, if that makes sense. But like I was saying before, you have to, I believe, enjoy to a certain point what you're doing. If you do look at a lot of stockbrokers, I had friends that worked at the Merck Board of Trade downtown Chicago that made a lot of money. Tons of them lost a ton of money. But a lot of them loved what they did. Tons of them hate what they did. A lot of them ended up taking a lot of their money and investing it and did well. Tons of them lost their money and ended up broker than ever. A lot of them are lost. Even afterwards, some that ended up leaving broke ended up successful. Some that left with wealth ended up broke. And I'm just giving you for an example, a lot of them I think that I know weren't, the ones that were kind of happy going there and enjoying that, kind of were happy figuring other things out. The ones that kind of were miserable being there, they made money, it seems like even after they left there, the misery kept kind of following them. So it's really interesting, I find, how people, even when they're making money a lot of times, or they're doing things for money, if they're not really enjoying themselves, there just seems to be a pattern of negativity, I guess, along with that. And again, I know a lot of wealthy people that are absolutely miserable, and I'm sure you've heard that before. And I know a lot of people that are broke as shit, or that don't have a lot, that live the most fulfilling lives I've ever seen. It's kind of amazing. I once got I got accepted into the Miami Independent Film Festival years ago, like really when South Beach was in its heyday before social media, and it all got flooded, like in 2003 to 5, I don't remember. It was in that range. And South Beach just started kicking ass again. It was unbelievable. And it was obviously before the big, The economy took a shit. The economy was really doing really well, real estate, and I was at South Beach that weekend. And I was like, holy shit. And at the festival, you run into other, obviously, filmmakers and stuff. But I ran into some artists. They had the film displaying at a like an art place, whatever. I don't know. People live there. There's all these artists that live in this one community. And they lived there. A lot of them were gay, whatever. And I was talking to them. And they're all walking around with their shorts, no shirt on all day. And I was just having conversation with them, having coffee. And then some came to the festival. And a lot of them, even, they don't have a lot of money. They were artists, but they're like, their dream was to really just kind of live this lifestyle in South Florida. And they all had their places, and they all drew together, and they all ate together, and they did all these wonderful things. And I was thinking, I know guys that buy mansions that kind of exclude, they live on these big pieces of property. They're kind of miserable. They buy Ferraris or they buy these cars, and then their kids leave them. It's them and their wife, or they get a divorce. They're sitting in these big homes by themselves, or they're just sitting in bars, or whatever the case may be. But it was an eye-opener to say, hey, it's really about the lifestyle too. Now, a lot of them, of course, they even said they want to make money. Sometimes they make money off their paintings, and sometimes they didn't. They wanted to make money, but they were living a lifestyle that I think a lot of millionaires almost kind of wish they would live to a certain degree, but a lot less stressful. But it was almost more than money, because it was like kind of living a dream. So sometimes that is the wealth, I think, that you need to sometimes just figure out. Like I was saying earlier, it's not just all about the money, right? It's about the lifestyle. So that's really what I'm trying to emphasize to you more than anything. Sometimes I go all over the place, and it's hard. I kind of almost contradict myself. But I want you to know that if you really sometimes surround yourself with a lot of people that have a lot of the same interests you do, and I don't think a lot of us do that. Either we're scared, or we're not open enough to go figure these things out. Like if you are somebody like that wants to be a musician, you're just afraid, or you are a musician, you're just afraid to start a band. Or you're only going to start a band if you're younger because I want to be a rock star, and if I don't make millions of dollars, I'm going to be miserable too. Just start from plan A, right? And just start, like I said, surrounding yourselves and asking questions and figuring things out. Talk to people that are wealthy, that have succeeded, obviously, in what you want to do. See what path they took, because that may be a path you don't want to take, or maybe a path you do want to take. So definitely be open-minded to that. So. And I'm going to wrap up with one thing, and it's for a lot of people that I know artistic, or even people that ended up with wealth and artistic, that got older in their 70s and 80s. And a lot of them, I noticed, they're by themselves, where, especially in LA and stuff, where they became very successful, and then like anything else, they're not as successful or not as popular, right? So they had a big boom, whatever year it was, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. It's hard to stay on top forever. I always said, go look at the Oscars. 5 years before that, you're going to see all new groups coming in. You're in and out. Be nice to everybody on the way up, because you're going to see them again on the way down. A lot of artists, or a lot of wealthy people that were in the arts, they got very successful, and they ended up alone. And like I was telling you before, I think sometimes with people that didn't make a lot of wealth, they just kept creating, and they didn't get caught up in the money and judging themselves by money or any of that. And they just kept creating. They seemed to have really incredible, fulfilling lives. When I was making my feature films, I knew I wasn't making anything close to a Hollywood film. I was kind of doing mockumentaries. They were mock docs, kind of underground. I wanted them to be, it was like before reality television. I wanted to kind of bring a reality to my movies that were really like, you didn't know if they were a movie or a documentary. I almost wanted to like take a camera and like put it in a corner, and you didn't know if it was real or not. That was my theory behind what I was trying to create. And I really didn't do it for money. And then after I did a couple films, and then I was kind of co-producing a third film, then it did become about money. And it was the most excruciating. We spent, me and my production partner, so much money trying to raise financing and all these different type of things, dealing with venture capitalists, all these different lawyers and all this. Eventually it exhausted me and made me hate the film industry. And I kept thinking, well, I have to do this to make my next movie. I have to be successful. For me to do this, I have to do a Hollywood-type film, or I have to make this amount of money on my movie, and I have to do this type of budget. The truth was, I really didn't. I kind of regret that I just didn't go out and just make another film, even though I was exhausted from doing back-to-back films, to write, direct, and produce back-to-back films. was very hard. I'm not going to lie. As far as, for me, it was to do it independently and then co-produce a third and then trying to raise money. And I was also writing 4 other screenplays. I optioned one. I exhausted myself. I'm not going to lie. But I look back now, one thing I'm happy is that I did create that. It was a lot of times I think people want to be creative and they don't know how to, or they're afraid. Like if they want to write their own book, just sit down and write. You want to write a screenplay? Just sit down and start writing. I think we're always afraid of what people are going to judge us. I have that gene, like I don't give a F. I don't care. I'll write a screenplay on a phone or a notepad. I don't give a shit. Does it have to look that? Now, as time went on, of course, I'm going to use Final Draft and do it as professional as possible and do all these things because I'm at a different level, or I was. Still doesn't mean shit to me. But back to my point is when I wasn't doing it for money and just the passion of creating films, even though it exhausted me, it was like a release for me. I loved that I did that. We have a 20-year reunion actually for my first film, Sore Losers, and I look at all my friends. It's a piece of our history. Was it tremendous? No. But I did it. You know, my buddy Frank, he said, Rich, not too long ago, I've been, you know, obviously I wrote screenplays, I wrote a couple more books, and I don't do that to toot my own horn. I'm creating an app, I created a program. He's like, dude, you're the only one that I know that doesn't, like, just does it. Like, they talk about it, they're doing it. He's like, everybody talks about it, no one does it, right? So that's something, too, in your life. Just start doing it, man. It's like the Nike thing, but again, don't always worry about the money. If it's really good, money is definitely going to come your way. Be so good they can't ignore you, right? I mean, that's kind of the concept here, right? But again, don't do shit you just for money, I think, a lot of times. Maybe it will work for you. I'm sure a lot of times people do go, you know, a lot of guys may go end up being a doctor, even though they don't want to be a doctor, and they make, you know, millions of dollars throughout their life. God bless them, right? And if you could do it, you could do it. But I think for the most part, most people don't want to live in misery. They want to make money and things they love. Just kind of figure out what you love, right? If you don't know what that is, take your time. You will figure it out. A lot of times you may not, you know, you may pick up a guitar or always want to play an instrument and play it and not be that good. Try the drums, you know what I mean? Or try the piano, try other shit, test different things out. Just, you know, I think a lot of times we get boxed into a corner, and the reason I use bands, because my dad's used to be a professional musician. But, you know, try different things. I mean, the truth is you got to try it. And again, you may be like, oh, I want to be a singer, and your voice sucks, and you're like, oh, I quit, I'm done. Well, maybe you weren't meant to be a singer. Again, you might have been a good bass player. Try other things. Don't get locked down. I'm just using that. Same with filmmaking. If you made some films, you got shitty, you may be a great artist as far as drawing. You may be great at audio. You may be, who knows, you may be a better actor. Like now, I never wanted to be in front of the camera. Now I'm in front of the damn camera doing YouTube videos. That was the last thing I wanted to do. And I have the confidence to kind of just go do shit like that. But now I'm doing it. I'm testing it because I kind of got exhausted from being behind the camera. I know that sounds weird. So I kind of want to try all different things. Even when I wrote, direct, produced, I did some acting in my films. And now I'm doing YouTube videos. I'm doing a podcast. Just keep testing it. Things are going to stick and some aren't. Right? All right. I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope you got something out of this. If you get a chance, you can check out my YouTube channels. I also am on Twitter, LinkedIn, or on Instagram. And I have my program, Mastering Self-Confidence, the blueprint to finding the woman of your dreams, even if you've been through a bad breakup or divorce. All right? All right, guys, take care and safe travels.